Hello, this is Gerald Johan van Waas, the educational channel of demonstrations regarding sounding form theory. Until now, lots of theory, and I know people not waiting for a theory while they not even know if it is true or not and give attention to it or need to give attention to it before they can grasp it. So it is a bit annoying to have this all the time. So I will do two things. I will have the videos that I will have, I will also separate them. I will have the introductions with the theory for those interested, and I will mostly limit these videos by providing links somewhere that you can find it. If you're really interested, you can find them, you can research them. But the demonstrations, the short demonstrations that go more quickly, I will provide more often, and I will try to keep the things short, which is difficult for me because there's so much to say. So basically, I have to try to. I have two methods then that I'm developing currently. And I will give most attention to the letter sign language that I discovered because this will help you to understand the way how letters are combined and how they really mean something that we anticipated them much more quickly. I will give you two examples in this video. The TAC word, because I start with the first letters of the system. And these are T, A, and K, so I can only make two opposite words that exist, tak and cat, and these are also two Dutch words. It's tak means branch and cat means cat. It's in English it's the same thing, but it doesn't make much of a difference if it's with a K or a C, so it will be quite easy to compare them even in results if I would design cat instead in English version instead of the Dutch version. It would even go much easier. But anyhow, let's talk about what I'm going to do. But before I will give you only the simple method, I will do both. It's just a last time. There's a difficult method, let's say for those people who really want to learn it and want to discover it, but then you have to accept it that there's something correct about them. But I will also still add a kind of proof that I will add more theory into it that you need to follow, but as models. So these models will provide you that you simply can go to schemes and see, okay, this and this is combined, so I get to this result without much thinking at that point. Okay, you still have to interpret it, have to have keep your eyes open, have to learn to think with the system. It will still take a while, but you have at least the system, and then you can know more quickly, theoretically, what is correct and what you should do. Doing it as well is still needs a little bit more of anticipation and a development of a certain kind of intelligence to work with it, but that will come. Then immediately you will already understand from the theory alone that how it works and that it will work and where it will go to. It's like saying, like, you know already with a painting, you know, okay, it has to have this and this and this, but okay, you still have to paint it, and then not okay. In theory, you know already where you have to go to, but you still have to do so. So I will make it more easy to guide you with a couple of methods that will help you to make the decisions. Because before that, I just told you this is a set of associations. Yeah, pick from them. That's a bit too much to ask. Make forms. It's also a lot of to ask, and with these elements. Yeah, how do I do so? Yeah, okay, yeah, but you have this rule and that rule. Or just combine what works. There are 20 rules here, and one of these 20 will work best. All of 20s are correct, but there's one of the two. How could I possibly know which one to choose? And I will tell you how you can find it. In the large video, I will also tell you why these options are chosen. In this video, I will make a short resume of this TAC and CAT, what we choose and how quickly we come to a solution. The other method, the quick method, is a sign language anticipation, because you always need, you need to anticipate to learn how things hang together. So it's like in a dance, you have two, three movements, but you still have to experience. So you do that in a full time. If you say like, okay, one step forward, one step backward, and you say, okay, 3 steps backwards. You start to react differently if you have to do that. Why do I have to back up? You already think. That's anticipation. That's the way how it works. You have to do a couple of things in a certain order, and then it will give you a certain association. On the other hand, for instance, if I say go back 1 step and go back 2 steps, it gives you a different feeling. It is like, okay, I prepare myself and I give it a go. That's the kind of association that you do. You have the same elements in a different order, they do something else. And actually it's not so difficult to understand if you mix the orders. It's the same with letters or in language. If you go through the door, you can understand it. Change the order. If you have the door going through you, I think that will not be a very good sight at the end. But you understand that the order from the same things, give it a different order, and they will give it different results. The same with letters, and the letters have a specific orientation, and they can be learned. You can learn. Behind it is a whole philosophy, what comes to it. That's in the large video, not doing that now. But I developed this language of sign language because we are better with that. We are much better if we have an expression or if we have a signal that you say up, stop, or go. We understand that immediately. We understand the signs. It was our first language. It's our first language. And the language with letters is based upon the same kind of actions and reactions. And that's why I developed the sign language anticipation method, where you can choose the letters into action-reaction, and the reaction that comes forth from it will lead you to the right anticipation. And that's, in the end, that's all you need in letters. It directs you so that you will anticipate in a correct way. So you have a reference point, you have a direction, and you have an anticipation. These 3 elements are there everywhere in each letter, and that are already repeated very often. So via movement, of course, it will go much more quickly, because our instinctive learning process that we also have developed better than, for instance, our imagination, how we combine forms. But it's not very developed. I mean, I have developed this because I was busy with art a lot in my life. So if I asked me to make a combination of 2 forms or that kind of things, it will be much more easy for me than for someone who hasn't had that experience and development. After a while, you get better than these things. I shouldn't demand of people to learn this transformation process in forms only, but you can understand it also via different ways, very instinctively, just like your instinct in dance. Just follow the movements, feel the movements. It is possible, and you can sense a word, like I will do with 3 letters. You can sense the word with these 3 letters in a completely different order. It will be a completely different thing with the same 3 movements, and you will understand, and I will demonstrate. But first, the difficult method in a more practical sense, that you can derive the ideas that you need simply by looking into a scheme. It will be much more easy. And this is a difficult method. You have this scheme, the basic scheme of all the letters, and they have three kinds of orientations that we use. I already told you. We have either an orientation in space on where can I start from, or, if this doesn't work, we have an orientation in the time frames that we will look for directions, that's the second frame, or we need to adapt and see where, okay, if it's not here, if it's not going away, where is it? So do I need to change my position, or do I need to change my view on where the starting point is? These three options are all the theory in the variations that you have. So you have all these variations of combinations of these three. So it's 3 times 3. So you have 9 positions. And in the last one, okay, they mix because you're changing the positions, which is, but that's something I already explained a few times. That is not the option for now. So what do we have? So we have T, A, and K, or K, A, and T. In every word, there are also these three options because, and that's very easy. That's why I said it's easy. It's easy with the dancers as well. If we go backwards first and then go forward second, then we make the move forward, and then we end forward. The ending is an idea of, oh yes, I went forward. You see, this is the kind of order everybody understands. In a word, these three options are also there. So you start with, what do you start with? With a starting point. As simple as that. When you do something with it, you use a direction, you use a movement. So the movements are about how the things evolve, how the things are formed, gradual, and so on. And and then at last you always have, then it ends, a word ends. So you have, okay, that's the limit, I can't go further, it's the end of my word, here it's the ending, it's the end of my action, and so on. And then you have a small feedback on the whole word, and then you know what the context is because you know what to expect and where to end with. You also at the same time find context in the full word. So every word has a starting point in a starting point, as a second part where it is the formation, so it's the go for what you have to do. And in the end, it's stop, it's the limit, we found the limit, and that's it. That's easy, remember that. This very easy thing, it's a signal that we hear, we have the word, we immediately hear, okay, here it starts, here it continues, and here it stops. Nothing more than that. But that's very important, you will never forget that goes automatically. The letters have these elements as well, and they have an order in the system. I would say learn the order and see the theory a couple of times. If you really want to understand it, do so. But the order also have these three sections. So the starting point, the A. You have a continuation from there. So when you continue to do things and you have a new starting point, and I start now from what I already know, I have the T, and when I reached my limit, I have the K. So these three options are there as well. So if I use a different order of A, T, and K, I will have already the first combination. It's all three starting points, A, T, and K. But as you can see, when I start from K, I start already from a stop point. When I start from T, I start from a progression. When I start from A, I start from a starting point. So these words are different and the context is different. But I will explain you how you can find what this means in reality. Just pick out from the system, and it will work as follows. We start with the first word, tak. So we combine the underlying structure, the starting point, the go, and the stop. So what do we combine? The T is the go for the system, so we add the go onto the starting point. So we go from the start. That's an association you can already make. It's absolutely correct. Then the second part was the go in the word. So the second part was go. What do we put on it? Our starting point. So our starting point goes into the go. So I have the blue A on top of the arrow. Until now it's just technical. Just make the puzzle. And the K is on top of the stopping point. So it's a stop, so there will be no problem at the end. That's great. So we go from the start, T on 1, and we will also confirm the direction, because A is a starting point, so we can go from the start. Okay, and we are sure we can start from there and find direction there, and then we'll stop. That's already a first thing that you can take out. That's your first step to understand some combinations of letters in a word. That's what they will do. That's a signal they will bring to your mind if you do. So as a word dealt with the order of letters, what you can derive already from it is, if you see this combination, there's an arrow. This arrow starts there and it goes under the A and it goes all the way to the K with the A on top. So you see that there's a direction followed, and this direction is continued in the background in the A. That will make it easy. So it will also give you the signal, let's follow directions from the start. Very good, I'm almost there. But what kind of direction should I start? So that's also part of the theory. There are 3 directions, because okay, you need direction, but which directions? There are 3 directions. One of these 3 it will be. Again, because of the positions, we will know what kind of directions each letter has. So we will follow the directions from the start, from each letter. So what will we have? So you have the A with the direction that way, T with that direction, K with that direction. Very simple. So let's do that. Let's combine it. We know the directions, and we know the solution of tak or branch, and that's an expression of branch. It's extremely easy. It's technically just following the system, and you have it. Will it be always that easy as this one? No. The next word will start from contradictions, and that will make it more easy, but even then, following the theory, will still make it easy enough as long as you understand it. But I had already some difficulties with that, because I will tell you why. Because the combinations are weird. Because of course each word has a starting point, a go, a stop. So what is my starting point? A stop. Yeah. You see already what is the difficulty. From there I will start. Okay, that's how can I start from a stop? So I stop, and then I can go. What can I do with it? So it is, if I combine them, I put the K on top of 1, the A on top of the number 2, and the T on the top of the number 3. And how can I read it? So I have a stop from a start. So I have to limit my starting point. There's no other way. The third section, find the correct context, find the correct feedback, listen to the feedback, see what you have, see where the borders are. It's a message. So I have to limit my starting point. That I'm sure of. That's already the first signal that you immediately hear this when the K is at beginning, you have that. You can't decide for yourself where will I go to. That will not be possible. At least it will not be possible from the viewpoint of I know what I know and this is good. This is a good idea. No, you don't know. You don't know it beforehand. You are not prepared for this. So limit your starting point to the essence. Knowing the essence is look for where your limits are. So you limit yourself to your limits. That's what you need to do. Okay, the second letter, the A on top of the number 2 or of the go. So you have the start in the go. Okay, that's nice. So I can start from there. Then you have the T on the number 3. So I have the go. Now I have the real go on the limits. At the point of the limits where I actually need to stop. It's also there where I can do something with it. So I can develop things from the limits. That's also what it says. Quite difficult to make a form with this. The cat itself, the character of the cat is recognizable a little bit because it learns differently than humans. The brain of the cat, by the way, is completely differently wired as the brain of people. People, when they remember something, they want to get it whole. They want to make knots, and they make more and more knots, and they remember it. And that also makes a lot of knots in the brain. A cat has almost no knots in the brain. That's what I read once when I was very young. I read that somewhere in a magazine. And that means that it will think differently. It doesn't think of, I have to remember this, I have to remember that. No, it rewires all the connections the whole time. It just experiences it, so it just sees how far can I go, how far can I perform, how far, and then it experiences and then it reacts accordingly. That's the cat. That's the character of the cat. You can see it in this. You can see it already described here. But how can you make it a form? That's the difficult thing. But let's combine these 3 letters into one go and see what the word does from there. So the description is, you can see the A underneath. It continues, actually, and comes out after that. So that you can see this is the description of the letter order and its own nature. That goes immediately. So I will try to find an experience, the A as the kind of estimation of experience, renewed experience, because it starts anew from scratch, I accept my limits and I try to experience what I can do with it and make new, exploit these limits that I will find. So what will help us a little bit to give it a form? And that was one of quite difficult actually, because you don't know it with the K. You have to stop, you have to start from your limits or start from the borders. That's also a possibility. So let's find out what we can use to make into a form. The orientations, as the last category, the orientation of K is at the border. So we have to work from the border. So in a form we can use that. Okay, we can have to start from the borders. From there we can start. Okay, that's a good idea. And that's the way how we do it. Find the limits. From where do we start, so that we are sure that we start from the limits and not from experience first, or from experimenting. No, we have to start from borders and don't exploit it too much, and also try to find out where it goes to new limits. Nothing more than that. We can't do more than that. That's the cat, and we have to express that in form. The second thing is of the last category, because K is from the last category. You have A first, also first category in orientation, T for second category in the orientation, K last category in the orientation. So we need to anticipate in that kind of starting point. And the second anticipation is the feedback process. Feedback process will reset our positions and decides also to which border we need to withdraw or limit ourselves. That's the thing we need to do. And to cut things short, I will give you an example. So here was the example. So I'll use my anticipation process in reorientate himself, start from the borders and go from there with also, of course, the three angles. The three angles that exist is the K is the diagonal, the T is the vertical, and the A is the horizontal. So in that order, I will add them together in different ways that I find and I adapt and so on. And that will make, if I allow these settings, or if I agree with these settings and where where I have to start from, where I have to end to until where, if I really do this well, I can do this in three positions, K, A, and T, and stop. Here I did this. I will. You have the full video in the larger video, but here is some of the results that you could have. It's still an experiment, and you have to experiment, but it can only be an experiment. Okay, I found this balance of the correct elements, the balance from the corner and from the corner, so to this section of the volume, and then ends in the A in the middle. If I do that, and so on, with the right order, the right ideas, what I will add or what not, in the same way, in the same balance, I can find forms that will fit with the cat almost accidentally, as you can see here. The second method is much more easy. I lost already 30 minutes, as you see. It's because, very simple, because the theory needs a lot of explanations to make you understand. But the sign language is much more easy. I had a sign language, and I have, for the sign language, I need 3 letters. And these 3 letters, combined in a different order, should provide us to show us the imaging, and that we can imagine, that we can sense it with the effect that it will create, that we can sense it, that the T, A, and K order will immediately will gradually, let's say, bring us to the position of tack, and the other one will bring us to the position of cat, and we can imagine this form inside it and how we sense it can be derived from it. Almost impossible, you think? No, it is not. So I will express the 3 letters. You have K, so that's the K, the A, and the T. K is, of course, the breaking point. A is the form, and T is you touch it, and by touching it you also go slightly inside the object and make a sense more of the object. So let's combine. This is the K. We start with cat, K, A, T, and together it's cat. If you do that a few times in the right order, you will have a region in which the cat will appear in your mind, because you will sense that it will go from here. You have a middle part and you have a limit. This limit will press the function slightly in it, and within that is the cat. Now it seems a little bit far-edged, but try it a few times, and you will notice that how it fits with the cat, and it's most easily to have that projected in your mind and go to it. As quickly as that, you could actually sense all the words, how they are formed. And this is the most quick method, but you have to practice a little bit, do that a few times until your mind is used to it. The second one is tack. You have T, A, K, or tack. The same things are there, the same options are there, but because of the different order, you also have different directions, so that by doing that you give it a touch. You already go to a smaller part, and the smaller part will also, because it's emphasized after at the end of the K, will bring you outside, and it will in the back. The selection that your mind does the whole time will limit itself, and you have the tack in the end, the branch in the end. Understanding the sign language is easier, I already said, because the interpretation in the brain also lies closer to the language center. It still needs this development of anticipation. If you go to a dance club, and they ask you to do a couple of steps together, you don't sense it immediately, but it will not take you a very long time how they work together and what it will bring together. So that's a bit like learning to dance. You can also learn to have these movements and sense the connection and make the feedback. It's only when you sense the feedback and that the response is correct, and the response will have a combination of the movements, and you have just one movement left, and you sense the movement, and it's the correct movement. So that also means that because of the anticipation that connects to the right order, most logically it will combine the correct features. It's much more difficult to express this with the whole set of theory than to sense it. And I think this method works well to make you sense what it is immediately. I'll go for it one more time, because the signals can be reached, as you can see here, also the emphasis will change because of the order of settings. Here you have cat, so the dominance is the first, and the T is the last one. You can see it already in the back. With tack, it's the other way around. We start with the T, and that will have the K at the end as a last resort, as a last effect, not much more than that. So let's start with cat, show it one more time with the movements to it and the suggestions to it. So you have these suggestions. You go with K, cat, all to the hand, which is as firm, to the other side. The T will, of course, press it in, and what you did before will disappear and will, in the end, makes it fit with the form that you can imagine in it. Same with tack. T, A, and you go to the other direction, then the hand will be more dominant, and you have the tack in the end. So let's show it a little bit better than another time. you have cat and then tack. So this will be the selection for cat. That will be done. You start from K and will end at the end of T. So it's from forward to background. So I will show that. Let's go. Hope that was not too quick. And now one more time. This time for tack. So for tack, yeah, I already had an example. So for tack, I will go from here, T. Did you sense the tack where it will go to? I hope it was clear enough. It was not, if it was not clear enough, tell me. Then I didn't succeed completely in my presentation, but it is always good to know. I also wonder if this could be used as a sign language as well. I can imagine what it can do, because you can imagine also the forms better, and also the structure of how, I mean the structural tendency of how forms combined can be developed a little bit like this. If you would develop sign language like this with letters, it could work also a little bit more like how Japanese language uses letters. It first has a signal, so let's say you have here, if you want to have a very good distinction between words, you say, for instance, animal instead of cat. You don't need too many symbols, and then you say, okay, up and cat, and then you know how to have it. Or tree, for instance, you have the tree already of plant or whatever it is, so plant, and then the branch and the end. Maybe it's a good idea, maybe it's not. Just let me know what you think about it. It's just a suggestion. It is possible, and it's very good as a learning process to get used to get the forms together and see how they are connected, because it is in the nature of things to follow these rules in order. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Still 40 minutes. I was hoping I could make it shorter, but I couldn't. Anyhow, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Look at the website with a list of words. And if you like, also, yeah, give me some feedback. Okay, thanks again. Bye-bye.